To limit global warming, you are demanding to halt to coal, oil, and gas exploration. You are asking firms to replace any corporate board directors who is unwilling to transition to cleaner energy sources.
Wow, that all sounds horrific. Joining me now to explain what the heck he's talking about, my friend James Lindsay, of course, the author and founder of newdiscourses.com and author of a book you have to buy, Race Marxism. If you want to understand where's all this BLM, where's all this stuff intersect with communism, buy Race Marxism. Your kids are learning this in school. James, okay, setting the race stuff aside, that sounded pretty much evil and horrible and like it would result in the death of millions of people.
Yeah, it will. I mean, now we're looking at climate communism. So, you have green energy sources as they hold up as great. The communists love to hold up something that's got some color, whether it's red or green or something that's good. So you have the green energy sources that are good, and then you have the black energy sources that are bad, like fossil fuels, nuclear power, etc. And we have to now transition. And the reason why we have to transition is because goons like Klaus Schwab gain power when we go on to some broken energy system that doesn't allow us to be energy independent, and therefore have to work with whatever he gives us.
Okay, how does it help him, though, to make the entire world poorer? I mean, he's already a powerful guy. He has the ear of several world leaders. What does he gain by making the world poorer and reducing the amount of SUVs on the road?
Control. I mean, it's all it boils down to is they gain control when the world is poorer. Poor people have fewer resources to be able to fight back. They're too busy trying to get food and basic resources for themselves to live. So what he gains is control, which is what the communist is actually ultimately always after, to try to control other people who might depose them from their illegitimate regime.
Okay, James, we talk a lot about the World Economic Forum here. I know this is something you pay attention to. Can you elaborate a little bit on Agenda 2030 or 2030 Agenda? Because people don't seem to be paying attention to this. You are, but 2030 is right around the corner, and these people have climate goals.
Yeah, so actually the big broad goal, the brand name for communism or neo-communism, if we need a new word for it, in the 21st century is sustainability. So Agenda 2030, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for the year 2030, are to transition us into a world that they call sustainable, which is the one that's completely under their control. There are a lot of reasons for this. One of those is that they simply want control over virtually everything. And if they can control energy, where you have to go through them to get what little energy they want to give you, then they have a lot of control over you. But another is because I actually think that a number of them it splits, because like people like Barack Obama building a mansion on the coast. He's probably not that worried about the ocean level rising. But on the other hand, I think a number of these people legitimately believe that we are in an existential crisis and that they can play savior. So it's got a kind of a savior complex behind it. And so they're utterly obsessed with destroying the fossil fuel industry, the nuclear energy industry, and anything that might give energy independence to people. Not just so they can control it, but because they think that they're saving the world, as the communist often does. And so the Agenda 2030 is a program to shift us into a so-called sustainable world. You can go back, in fact, to the 60s. You can read, say, Herbert Marcuse, most famous Marxist of the 1960s. He writes this book in 1964 called One-Dimensional Man. Near the end of that book, he's talking about the need to get off of capitalism because we have to create a more sustainable world. He says it, of course, presumes a reduction in the future world population. It was 3.9 billion in 1964 when he wrote that. It's almost 8 billion now, so we have to reduce below 3.9 billion, he says. And then we have to get away from having so much stuff. We have to be content with less. We have to pull back. We can't keep destroying the environment. We can't keep polluting. We can't keep making gadgets just to have more gadgets, to create needs for people in capitalism that aren't true needs, that people will buy stuff just to have it. And so the goal is to actually create this kind of new system where we own nothing and we'll be happy. Everything will be sustainable. Nothing will be polluting. We may have to have fewer people around to make it work. And we're going to be under the thumb of people like Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, partly because some of them are just cynical, partly because some want to save the world, and partly because of a third group, his little henchman, Yuval Noah Harari. If you've read his books like Sapiens or was it Homo Deus, 21 lessons for the 21st century. You can just tell this man hates humans. And so he just wants less humans because he hates them.
You like what you just saw? I know you did. Watch the whole thing. The whole thing's even better. It's an even bigger candy bar. Go download the First TV app right there in the App Store. Become a First TV supporter. Enjoy the whole show.